I'm Carissa, and I am from Team 4388 Ridgebotics in Fort Collins, Colorado. We have been working for about a week now. We got our challenge on Saturday, as did everyone else. First, Steamworks is the challenge this year. They really amped it up on us as far as the challenge, and it's very different than anything we've ever done before. So this first week we started off with strategy, as that's a huge component of how we end up designing our robot. And since then we've been doing prototyping of different parts of the robot that will help us determine a couple factors in our strategy.
I'm Hunter Pearson, and I've been working on the shooter prototype for our robot. It's kind of a hooded shooter, so you have a flywheel that touches the ball at one point, and then it takes the ball and puts it along a curved piece of metal, which should shoot it up in a relatively similar fashion each time. Currently, our prototype seems very promising. We obviously need to make small changes for the finished product. The next step in our prototyping is we have a few things we need to do. We need to figure out how we're going to get the balls from the hopper into the feeding mechanism, into the shooter mechanism. And then we need to figure out how we're getting the balls from the ground and the play area into the hopper.
This week I started on a gear manipulator and grabber so that we're able to pick the gear up off the ground with our robot. And it accomplishes that with first this infeed roller right here that is hooked up by a chain drive to a motor on a planetary gearbox. And so when this motor is spinning, as soon as these roller wheels come in contact with the gear, it sucks the gear into this inside the mechanism, where we then have a pair of pneumatic cylinders that, when they're actuated, go and actually grab the gear. So they have an action like this. And when they're pressurized, it holds the gear very, very tightly. The concept at least seems to work very well. We haven't been able to do full testing on an actual robot yet to see how well it will work, but early testing seems to be very hopeful.
So this week they taught all the freshmen how to code in LabVIEW. So now we can all equally know what we're doing as far as programming the robot and the driving systems. We're also experimenting with programming in vision. That way during autonomous we can find targets, and during teleop we can also find targets and make it a lot easier for the actual driving team to control the robot. We've been using the Protobot to experiment with the Raspberry Pis that we're using to work on vision. We've been pretty successful. As far as driving, we've gotten the Protobot working. As far as vision, we've gotten so that it can identify an object and then have various outputs to make it do what we want.
So next week we're going to start making some final decisions as far as our strategy goes, based on the prototypes that are going to be finished towards the beginning of the week. And then we will jump into final designs of our robot and start construction even.